Check 1, 2. All right. Let's, let's get my headphones working. Oh, there we go. Good morning, everybody. Right, who've we got here today on this lovely Tuesday morning? Hi, Gramps. It's Monday night. Fair enough. How are you doing? So yesterday's session was pretty good. I haven't planned anything for today in particular to talk about. So I did fear I was going to do boredom, but then I thought, you know what? I'm getting bored of talking, so I need to do some music. So I thought I'd do a discovery session. And in particular, because the piece of music I picked, the discovery session is going to be very, very splurgy, really. And you'll see why in a moment. So I will talk a little bit about discovery. But yes, I enjoyed talking about fear yesterday. And certainly how I overcame it. So, Gramps, do you think you're going to get into the songwriting, acoustic cowboy songwriting industry? I think this could be a good thing for you. Oh, that's the old Gramps, fair enough. What does the new Gramps do? That sounds interesting. Music theory, right. That's interesting. So is that just like a general interest in music theory, or is it something that you're doing because you think, you know, that's a really good way to move forward, playing chord melody? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, just working all the time. Fair enough. I mean, yeah. I always say lucky, but it's actually like it took hard work and developing skills to get to where I am. Kind of just to make music into a decent living, you know, like a decent normal living, not like a decent kind of rock star wage, you know. Just where you can have like an okay house and car and stuff, and children. Well, I've got one. But you know, it's really good because you know, if I don't want to do music, then you end up in a situation where you're forced to do music, and then what you have to do is you have to find a way to do the things that you don't want to do or you don't feel like doing. Which is really interesting. I love those and I do a lot of brainstorming, free writing exercises to do that. and I can always find stuff that'll help me, you know, develop. I mean, that was one of my biggest shifts was, uh, you know, when you're doing like when you're writing music on a computer, and I'm doing all the electronic stuff, which was like basically all of my time, with a tiny little shred to pick a guitar up and play it. When I started shredding, suddenly I needed that time again, um, to be able to like maintain just my playing fitness. So you know, I had to think about. I went and saw Pat Marino, NY. My son announced the whole table. My dad knows nothing about music theory. Oh God. So I'm after it. Okay. Very good. I've got to be a counterweight to that though. Gramps is it's not all. I mean, it's good to know music theory, but you know my story where I tried to undo music theory for myself. I mean, certainly, you know, as I moved through various genres of electronic music, I ended up in a situation where, again, so it's a form of fear, this procrastination. What I used to do is I wouldn't go anywhere near a sound or a sample if I couldn't justify exactly what its musical structure was within a composition. Like if it sounded really good, all right, but the notes didn't fit, I would freak out about it and I wouldn't like to do it. So I wouldn't go with it. And I've been loads of songs like that. I remember writing with the missus upstairs. There's loads of times like somebody would play something and I would freak out, like, oh no, you can't do that. But it would sound perfectly fine. And then when I started really kind of doing really sort of weird, wonky kind of tech house stuff, dance music, I realised I had to kind of loosen that up. So I really sort of tried to just ignore that and just bring sounds together. And it opened up these whole other doors of music, really. Just putting stuff together and ignoring the theory. And, you know, I came up with much more complicated, harmonically interesting things at times. So it's nice to be able to control it and switch it off. For sure. But as long as you kind of, you know, you mix up the physical ability to the theoretical, then it's all, you know, then it's a good thing. Providing it doesn't limit you. Hi Zed, how you doing? I think we're going to do some discovery. I can't remember how to make music in front of people anymore. That's going to be interesting, isn't it? It's a splurgy discovery as well. But when I think about music theory, the things that are, you know, that are really, I think the thing that's been really important for me in music theory has been learning modes in the pentatonic scale. Maybe a bit of pentatonic substitution is quite important as well. But modes is the thing that, like, you know, you hear people like, you know, struggling with. But you make anything into a modal system, which is also interesting. So, you know, we have the major modes and we have melodic minor modes, for example. Hi there, Graham. How you doing? So I'm just streaming on YouTube today because, like, I was having problems yesterday. The quality on the video was like modes. How do you understand this? I've known modes for years. Like I used them. I mean, I probably learned them when I was about 11 or something, ridiculously young. Um, and luckily, I had an amazing teacher who taught me. So, how do you understand modes? Just get a teacher. That's the easiest thing, Gramps. And I can volunteer if you want. If you want a quick, painless lesson on modes that you can take away and follow the blueprint, then I can certainly do you a lesson on modes, and it'll get you up and running instantly. But modes are very, very, very important. In fact, modes, like, it's what I use at work. I mean, it's like I can use modes to just emotionally take people on a journey. You know, it's great stuff when you get it down, when you understand, you know, what the modes sound like, what you can use them for, how other artists use modes. Then it all makes sense. But there's a lot of complicated lessons and literature about modes that's kind of unnecessary. I think one of the mistakes people make is they view modes as 7 different scales when it doesn't have to be viewed like that, because basically it's 6 different scales contained in one scale, is how to think of it. So in other words, you only have to learn one finger 8 pattern across your fretboard on your guitar in 12 different keys, and then you're sorted. You know all the modes in every key. But anybody who is wanting to know about modes, book in for a lesson, because I'll do that. I wouldn't, like in coaching, I would never do well unless everybody said we can't make music anymore unless you teach us modes, and there was like a protest, and I felt that they needed to know, then I would teach it under that circumstance. But playing guitar, improvising, we do need to know this kind of stuff. It's important. So have a think, Gramps, and then just send me an email and I can put you in. It'll take about an hour to do. A video of the lessons as well. It's the actual apply. Well, that's the whole point. You would be applying it. There's 0 point in learning theory if you're not applying it. So it's all about the application. I never understood that. It's like when I was doing A-level music, right? There was this guy who was like a wicked keyboard player, play like loads of classical pieces, not perfect, right? And he was off to do an organ scholarship at Cambridge, this guy, right? And I just went, can you play -7? And he went, what's that? I went, A-7, and he went, yeah, you'd have to, and then can it go to this like C major 7 or something? And it's like, oh, I'd have to, like, no word of lie. Just, I don't know if he was like just a bit panicky or something, because I was asking him to do something that wasn't written down, because he could have easily worked it out, but he was just like, oh, I'd have to, I can't play like that. I have to see all the notes wrote down. So that seemed a little bit, but he knew loads of theory. Just didn't know how to apply any of it. He knew how to apply it to an exam paper, though, which I find bizarre, to be fair. So, yeah, applying these things is super important, It's the language of music, modes. Like, when you get it, you'll hear pop music like in a completely different way. You'll be able to identify all the scales and things like that and the chord structures within that. But yeah. But it's one of those things that doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, part of the reason I did, I ended up doing a master's in fine art and music, was because I was just really sick of, like, I needed to do something that was just crazy, off the map, wild, just to refresh my normal music practice, which is why I got into being a sound sculptor for a few years, which was great. It just completely reset my ear. I just enjoy my coffee, everybody. So yesterday's stream was really weird, so I had some problems with that. It wouldn't actually end the live when I wanted it to end, even though the stuff was quit. It was still on YouTube going live doing I don't know what. And then I managed to get it to like end the show, and then I looked at the quality and it was really bad. So what's the quality of the picture like now? Does it look okay on whatever you're watching it on? Is it like nice and crisp? Can anybody tell me? Looks great here. Looks good. Thank you. Oh, right. Brilliant. Well, I'm nearly getting ready to do some music. Drum roll. So I can't remember if I've done any tweaks to my template. Oh, I probably have. I've got like a new, like a free plugin that you need to see, a free gating plugin that's just nice and quick to use, which I found, and I thought, oh, that's good. That'll save a little bit of time. Zero latency, of course. I mean, there are like really good like effect gating plugins out there. Like I absolutely love the Shaper Box stuff. The only problem with it is A, it puts a bit of latency on, and C, it's like to come up with the presets, drawing them in, it's not that quick. At least I'm not that quick on it. Whereas this is definitely very, very quick. So I'm quite into sort of gating stuff. I think it's like because I've been listening to Breakbeat and they use it all the time. People like let's have a think. Bicep, they're really good. Bicep, I would have a listen to them. Okay. I think it's this one. Here we go. Here we are. Make sure my head doesn't get cut off. Alright, and I need to open up the project in question. Let's have a look. Good to be alive. And here we are. Right. So nothing in there. Let's have a listen to it. Yeah, I like that noise. That's cool. This one here. Yeah, cool. Right. let's look at the machine and see what I did. So, good to be alive. So, in Discovery, right, I reckon. So, I had a quick listen to it twice yesterday while I was in bed. And, hold on. Right, we can see the machine. And then I just put in the checklist, I just played a very simple, very quick Discovery game with myself. So all it was is I was just describing the track in 5 words. Okay, so in other words, ignore the top thing, chorus in a minor key. That's just what I felt it should kind of go into. But so I felt that the piece overall, its kind of texture was short. It was like it had a jumpy feel to it. It was happy. There was a bounciness to it, and it's quite quick. And then all I did is I just put opposite words with that. So this is just to prime the subconscious again into thinking into just creating a piece of music that's going to be contrasting in some sort of way. So I think like this track, I think that bit that I'm playing there, it's quite catchy, but I don't think it's quite impactful enough to be maybe it's a chorus. Okay, I think there's like more stuff to be had here. I think we can do something with, maybe it's a different chord progression. So I've got words that are like opposite to that. So short, we've got long, jumpy, grounded, happy, mean, bouncy, impactful, and then fast, slowed. So there's different things we can do here. Right. Let's just try. We'll try. So one thing you could maybe do is like on the drums, because we're literally going to splurge another piece of music. We could just go into the grounded. You can't get any more grounded than a kick drum going 4 on the floor. And we'll move into dance territory here. Let's see what happens if I do this. Okay, let's have a look at the chord progression here. So we've got so I was saying move it into a minor key, but we're already in a minor key. So we'll move to something else. What I'm going to do just to mess with some ideas. So, hi Sean. So a quick lesson on modes, right? Here's a mode thing. Compose something without a beat. Unfortunately, the reason I'm going for a beat is there will be a contrasting sectionograms. The reason I'm going for this is because I'm trying to create the drop of this tune, which definitely will have a beat because I'm wanting maximum energy. So, so the theory behind this, right, is I'm thinking about contrasting keys, something that'll contrast, and the thing that works really well that you hear all the time in pop music. And pop music's great for like catchy changes, right? And there's definitely a lot we can learn from it. So if we look at bass line 1 in the verse here, we're in the key of B minor. So this isn't harmonic minor, it's the natural minor. So we don't have any, there isn't a major 7th there, right? So that's the first thing, very typical key to write pop music in. So we call this the Aeolian mode. For those wanting to know about modes, this is what we call the Aeolian mode. It's the natural minor scale. So we have a root, we have a second, we have a minor third, we have a fourth, perfect fourth, we have a perfect fifth, and we have the minor sixth. So the minor sixth, when we're improvising, when that's the note where we land on it, and it always sounds a little bit, not always, but a lot of the time, it makes us sound like a bit amateurish and a bit shit. So it's called the avoid note. You'll see stuff on YouTube about this. So a lot of the ways we'll kind of think of ways to avoid that note when we're improvising. So one way of thinking about it is if you just think of a minor pentatonic scale, pentatonic's 5 notes, we have 7 notes in a scale. If you add one more note, which is the second or it could be the 9th, that gets us the hexatonic scales. This is why hexatonic scales are really, really quite popular at the minute, because it gets shot at that avoid note. And all you do is you just think of a pentatonic scale with this one extra note. And that's a simple way of doing it. But anyway, this is a natural minor. We have that minor 6, and then we have the minor 7th as well. So those are the notes that make up this. And then we have, so what I've done is, if you can imagine within, you can relate your modes to minor or major. You could even relate them to like a mode if you wanted. So we've got this natural minor as the relative minor of the major. But what I'm using is, it's a major scale within the natural minor scale. It's not a straight major scale. What I'm using is called the Lydian. All right, and I quite like the Lydian because when you look at the notes of it, it's got the root, it's got the second, but it's got a major third. So it's the major third that makes things happy, minor third sad, major third, like that's your happy note. Okay, we've got a fourth, but the fourth is raised, it's sharpened. Okay, and that's what the difference is. So we've got this sharp 4 now, and that tends to make things sound a little bit more, to me, in this context, a little bit more just, I don't know, like sometimes a bit cynical when I do it, a little bit melancholy. That's why I kind of go for it. Less predictable than a major scale, which was the avoid note again. I'll tell you what, we'll flip to a guitar, shall I? Right. Shit. Guitar. Let's have a look. Hopefully it'll be all up and running. Oh, I'm wearing a black top, aren't I? Hold on. Can you see this guitar? Right. Okay. I'm gonna get some more of those flunk tops as well. There's a few I've got my eyes on. Oh, full rock mode, ready to go. Right, okay. Let's do this in. No, that's the blur. There we go. Look at that. All right. So let's just have a look at So if we've got an E minor pentatonic scale. Okay, so we know that, don't we? Okay, to make that into a hexatonic scale, we just add in the second degree of the minor scale, which is this note here, F sharp. Okay, so if you played this as a scale, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend, but if you have to, we've got this. So think of the pentatonic scale and adding this one note. And that gets us all the nice notes. You get a nice sort of neo-soul sound. So one way to think about it is just a pentatonic scale with the F sharp added in. Okay. Hands are a bit so that's the mind trick of thinking of this, right? Is just to think of a pentatonic scale, right, with this one note added. And the reason that's a good idea, the reason I do it that way, is because I'm adding this one note, and I always kind of refer back to the pentatonic at a nice time. I always kind of resolve it out of that note. I'm trying to think. So the avoid note is the minor sixth, right? So if we look at a natural minor scale in the key of E minor, you guitarists, we're looking at this, right? So that's doing it 3 notes per string, right? So what we've got here, okay, is we've got our root, second, minor third, sad, fourth. We've got our fifth, and we've got our minor sixth. So it's that one. So it's the note that's that you would do that kind of riff on. But for some reason, when we're soloing over a lot of stuff, it can sound a little bit out. I mean, it's okay if you're falling on a chord that has that in it, but it's just a weird kind of avoid note. It's like when we're kind of playing up. Let's think. Let's let you hear it in context. Go to a different. All right, I'll tell you what. I've got this all set up on MIDI, haven't I? Oh, my foot's not wide enough to do 2 buttons at once. There we go. Right, let's see if this works. Oh, how good's that? So I've got the new version of the McRocklin suite here, and I've got it hooked up to my Morningstar, and I've got the very colourful MC6 Pro, which I highly recommend. Foot pedal. And I've got like 6 different tones kind of wired in on this, and I can just change between them on MIDI. And every time I load the plugin in, all my patches load in, which is brilliant. Right, so where was I? Yeah, so we've got... So if we're thinking like, let's say like if we're thinking C major, all right, the avoid note in C major, here's the C chord, right? All right, so that sounds nice, doesn't it? You know, you can have a C major 9. Oh, that sounds good, doesn't it? C major 7. But when we get to the 6th note, that's what that F that so when you're in the major scale, that instead of it being the -6, it actually becomes when you're playing in the major key, it's the fourth note you avoid. But so you can hear why we avoid it. This is it. Is that what happens if you land on that fourth or -6th note? You get that. Doesn't sound brilliant, does it? Now it's okay in G when you change to a G chord, because it's the 7th of that chord. But they're not great. So that's like the 13th, isn't it? So if you raise it up one, that gives you that nice Lydian sound. So that's why it's the avoid note. See there, it sounds great, doesn't it? Now I'm putting the -6 in there. Now if I skip it, you get that little run. So I don't want to put that. I'm avoiding C, the note C. Whoops. Oops, what's happened to me today? So everything you'll play will just sound quite nice, you know, and fit in. So it's a really good one to use. That I use it all the time. So always phrasing around it. See, there it is. Right, going off the boiler because my brain's not working. But it's great having like all of the, you know, I've got just one plug-in here and I've got everything set up. Couple of different gain sounds. That's my live setting. I don't know what this one is. It's a random one. I've got my low gain. It's just clean dry. Crystal. Just a kind of clean, crunchy thing. So that's kind of a good example of that, putting that second note in, the hexatonic scale, or the ninth. So that's sliding up to the ninth, or the second. This would be the pentatonic straight. So that's quite predictable. We're all kind of used to that sound. That's a hexatonic scale. And that's a little hexatonic run there. It's good, isn't it? A whole new dimension. Everybody's guitar playing, hopefully. I have to apologise for the rough playing this morning, but I'm not fully functioning yet. And what I tend to do is then dream off and then just play shit for ages till I kind of get going. Tell you what though, playing that guitar, whether I'm playing shit, I always sound good. It's good shit, isn't it? All right. So there we go. So back to like bit of our mode thing going on here. Oh, hi there, Scott. So so what I've done here is I've just modulated to the Lydian. So we're in B. So I'm starting here on the G note. I don't know why it's all gone down there. Oh dear. Ah. We've got something going on with MIDI here. Oh yeah. Look, I think this. Oh, great. My MIDI pedal changes my bass patches. Well, that's great, isn't it? I'll have to put on a different MIDI channel. I didn't think of that. This is like the problem me and Thomas were having, isn't it? On Saturday, where our pedals were changing each other's patches. Maybe a Reese will be better. Okay, we need some chords, I think. Let's try this JX. Just get the attack really quick. in B minor. Just flick this into B minor on Ableton, and there we go, we've got all of our chords. Except they're all first inversions, which sounds wrong. So here's some more theory for Gramps. Okay, one of the problems we have here with chords that makes them sound amateur is things that jump about like this. This is particularly bad. So what we have to do is we have to use different inversions. So if we just grab the notes that are too high up and flip them down, all right, so they're closer together, we get a nicer chord because there's less motion between the notes. I don't particularly want that. I'll take that out. Also, it leaves more room for you to put, because I've moved these notes down, to put like a melody on top, and then there'll be less conflict between notes. So that's quite nice. Another thing we can do is just start experimenting to get this sounding like an 80s thing. Because you'd only have like 6-note polyphony. It's like a guitar really on keyboards then. So you'd only have like 6 options. We can that's about as many notes as we can extend by. But what I like to do first is just kind of mess about with sustained chords like sus2s and sus4s. 9th chords and 7th chords, okay? So our first chord is G. This is going to be major. So in other words, what we're going to do here is we're just going to have a mess about with these notes. So we've got, this is first inversion, so we could try moving this down. That stuff always sounds very synthwave. That doesn't sound great. So you do something like, we could put 9th here, and we make that into a major 7 by moving that to F sharp. So that's, and just by flipping the notes, you can create like a melody, which I think Gramps was on about. A melody within the chords. So we've got a da, da, let's do something with this B. We'll make this into a B minus 7 maybe. So do that. Now I've added a note in there, so we've got a B minor 7, but if you notice it's we've got B and A3 in close proximity. So we've got 2 notes that are a tone apart. Now this can sound really good, but it also creates a lot of tension between those 2 notes because they're close together, you see. So it's quite a nice warm sound there. If it was a little bit too tension evoking, like so, let's create more tension. If I put in a note above that, then we get the 2nd, so that's a sus2 or a 9th as I like to think about it. So we've got a lot of tension there, so we could remove the root because we've already got that in the bass. So the chord becomes a bit more airy. Okay, so we've also got the D note here, so that's a minor 3rd. We'll probably want to keep that so it's minor, but if we took it out, it's quite nice. But I think we'll just have this as a straight minor 7, so I thought that sounded quite good. And then we've got whatever this F sharp is here. Just stick that in the bass. Which sounds alright. So we can experiment with this. Maybe just move that down to the F sharp root down to a 7th. It's not bad. Pretty sort of midnight sound in that. It's quite nice down there. Okay, sounding quite good. I fancy extending this minor chord here. Let's see what happens if I do that. Doing nothing for me, that. Let's try some other ones. So we've got G, so that's the minor third of E. Let's move it up to an A. With the I do like to have chords modified a bit, I must admit. So I'm quite liking the sound of that. G, maybe that didn't do. Into a major 7. Oof, nice. And then I'll just take away the bass notes of the chord, because the bass in here is going to do it. On solo. So a good way to start with lead sounds. So again, I'm directing this towards Gramps. Gramps mentioned, I clocked it earlier, chord melodies, yeah? Chord melodies. So we can technically, I'll move these out of the way, use, well, it makes sense to use chord tones first, doesn't it, for your melodies? I'll see if this works, right? But I've seen people do this before in Ableton. We just get this, move all of this out of the way. So I'm moving that chord thing to there. Oh, that's doing there, funny little thing. And then what we can do is hopefully hide. So I've hidden that, right? It's out of sight. And then you can just fold, right? And then that just gives us the chord tones that we can use. But actually, one thing we do need to do is select that and copy it. There we go. So hopefully you're following this madness. And then I've just folded that. Now it should be, I should be able to just drop in notes. So that's the scale, and then that's only the notes that are chord tones in this progression. See, all the notes will fit nice, apart from that one. So that's one way you can do things. Another way I like to do them is just look at the chords. And then we can use proximity. So obviously you can jam notes. You can kind of jam this, which I would highly recommend. But we can do it this way. So if we, in fact, we just get the top layer of this chord. Oh. Move it here. And then it's just moving things about to something that we think sounds good, so. You can start quickly building the melody. So gating. Let's have a mess with this. Alright. So with gates, the way I like to start is I want to have these on 30 seconds. Right, let's try a different version of a melody. So trying to explain a bit more stuff to everybody, so you get a bit more value out of what's going on here. One thing I've got noticed that I've got in my template is this. Just move this chat window. Take note of this little plug-in here after the synth. This thing here. What that does is fix clip length on track. So when I hit record, it basically, the recording stops, but it punches me out after a given number of bars. So after 4 bars, it punches me out and it just keeps things flowing a little bit better. So I'm just looking for a melody that makes things flow nice. So that seems to that's got more momentum than the other melody that we dropped in. Let's go back to the original bit. Yeah, so we're kind of getting the momentum there. Okay. Okay. And we've got that as a second alternative melody for something, maybe the end of the track. So that could be like end of the track kind of thing. But we need some sort of like vocal hook type thing in here, I think. Oh, what's that? It's fears, it's saying fears. What a coincidence that is. I'll tell you what, Arcade is really shit on CPU. It's not in the right key though. That is absolutely ridiculous. Switch this off a sound. Or maybe I've just noticed it now. Maybe it is an arcade. Yeah, it's the Roland stuff as well. I'll just take the latency down a bit. Okay. pretty cool, that. Yeah. Right. Get it in the gaps. So one thing I learned about was just creating space in music by having all of the parts talking to each other. There's a great producer, house music, called Jamie Jones, and he's an absolute master at doing this. So just trying to get the cool vibes into this. Let's have some sort of still under that. Let's go on to B minor. So another random channel. Leave that for now. So we can use the avoid note here. So if we think of the natural minor, which is B, our avoid note is the note G. Let's have a look here. See the difference? Right, yeah, sublime message, sure enough. Yes, so, so Gramps, we're in a kind of discovery phase. So I'm not kind of too concerned with, well, saying that, with that crazy noise, I could just stick it there on its own. Alright, and then, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll grab a vaporwave. So we'll splurge an intro. Right, I'll have my coffee. I can't do two things at once. We just yell them on the chat. Gramps, you've triggered something. Obviously, if you were here, you wouldn't have to yell because you'd be in the same room. Oh, that's better. No, I'm enjoying the studio session. It's very practical, isn't it? You know, despite me talking all of this stuff about conditions of success, you can't beat a good music session. Just sitting down and actually doing the music, I feel really good. Always. It's really weird because I was resisting doing live sessions where I'd just be talking. I was resisting that. And then when you start talking, I start resisting doing the actual music sessions. It's weird, isn't it? So, apart from hexatonic scales, what's everybody focused on their guitar playing? What are we doing? What are we working on? I've got two things to work on. I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours. What's everybody practicing on their guitar? Right. Okay, Sean. I feel like coaching you here. That's good. Getting cleaner. Have you got something specific? Have you identified a specific problem in your playing? And have you got an action plan? Learning Misty and the Christmas song in chord melody. Sounds great. So, getting cleaner, and it's weird getting cleaner because action plan, yes, just general left hand, right hand sync issues, very good. So for me, as I was demonstrating the other day, I've got latency now. For me, my kind of MOT on guitar to make sure I'm, playing like really cleanly. It's always like left hand that I'll focus on first, and doing. Let's have a look, because. Oh, that's loud. So I'll focus in literally on hammers from nowhere for me. So the idea here, well, the first thing I've noticed, right, is hands can get lazy and we kind of flatten them out. Whereas for like really clean playing, for like string crossing and all that kind of stuff, we do want to have a nice bend on our fingers. So I often, like, over time, that action slightly goes. So I have to remind myself to get my fingers kind of up and to be playing with the tips of the fingers. And that immediately, you just get that clarity. Good, eh? So that's the first thing. Right, so it's not difficult, Sean. There's always, well, it is difficult, but it's not difficult to kind of sort out. Just take a C major scale, okay, and just do the first string. Now, what's actually happened here is you're teaching your hand to relax. So every time I play a note, just turn this down a bit. So I play that first note and my finger, well, firstly, I don't want to be over hammering. Like, that's too hard. You got to work out what's the least amount you can push down on this string. It's all about economy. So I'm quite happy with that tone there, and I'm not really hammering on that hard. But when I come to this finger, okay, this finger relaxes. So whenever a finger, like a lot of the time with my legato, whenever a finger's playing, when it's hammer-ons, everybody else has a quick rest for a millisecond. And then you're just continuing that up the fretboard. So, sorry, across the strings. Now when we come to this change here, this is the trick. What I'm trying to do here is just slide this finger in and use the tip to mute this string. So get that nice isolation. And then again, it's like a hammer, relax. And another thing to think about when changing strings is to focus in, bringing your fingers off. So I say this in my head, so I'll go off, off. And that's just simply so I don't hear the string change. And then the other thing you want to do when doing this exercise is try and have everything dynamically flat. So what we don't want to hear is like this triplet feel that naturally occurs on a guitar. So because we've got 3 notes per string. So we think about just like subdivisions of 16. This is like a Tom Quayle thing. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The one of the beat is actually happening on a different finger. So, getting the triplet feel there. So you can just say the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we get that nice kind of subdivision feeling. Is the idea. So that's a couple of things to consider, but just start small. And then the other thing you want to think about is obviously your pull-offs, working on that, but because we're talking about accuracy, do hammers only both way. So rather than doing legato, on the way down, just do hammers only. And that'll improve massive accuracy as well. Very demanding to do. But it's teaching your hand to relax. Okay. And then you can bring the legato in. Like that. There you go. And honestly, it's just keeping things small, isn't it? I mean, a really good exercise is that doing that kind of thing, just focusing in on the string crossing. Like there as well, when I'm just like improvising hammers only, I'm really focusing in on the attack that's happening and just really dialing that in. It's like dialing your tone in, really. So just some thoughts there. And hammers only, that's that hand. We'll come to this hand tomorrow. My head's not in like thinking about guitar just yet. Yeah, so hopefully that's a little bit helpful. It's great. Like I mean, like doing your hammers only, hammers on, legato. It's like tuning a car engine. Yeah, it's just like little incremental shifts. And the thing is, you'll find this as well, Sean, is it's your awareness. As we practice, we become more aware of ourselves as well, and suddenly we kind of realize, oh wow, I've just noticed this thing. I know how to deal with it, and I can fix that problem. So, kind of being aware also helps. So, when you're practicing, I think it's In a Game of Music, Chapter 5. Simply just don't try, just observe. Okay, so when you're playing, observe. Critical thinking about what you're doing, what you should be doing while you're playing. Get those out of your head and just merely observe, okay, where the problem is and play around it. And that massively helps. It's counterintuitive. But again, like even when we're practicing and the editor is in there saying, this time, Sean, try harder. You want to get that first finger just a little bit like in there. Yeah, you don't want any of that kind of thinking. You just want to observe. All right, Gramps, I was jamming with this new raw Delta Blues yesterday, and I started playing the chords of Misty, and was tripping me how well they fit. Wow, cool. I need to hear some Delta Blues, That's the proper old stuff, isn't it? Are you still rocking the old i9 Mac? Of course not. Are you still rocking the i9 Mac, or have you moved on to the M chip? I've moved on to the M chip. That i9 was going to take off. It was like that fan was kicking in. I didn't need a stand for it. It used to just, after a splurge, that if I continued doing the session, the thing would just hover with the fan. Hi, Bella. Yeah, no, I'm fully M1. I was in Apple looking at M2s actually. Yeah, but actually the M2 is not. There's not enough power yet for me to warrant going through the hassle of getting a new one. I'm about to buy a new Mac Studio. What would you recommend? It's Enzo. What would I recommend, Enzo? Well, what I would recommend is, because I always like a laptop, right? Because at any point, I might want to just take my studio and go somewhere else other than in here. I used to I don't do this as much now because I tend to be just in here because I've got a really nice space to sit in. But if you listen to some of the sessions I was doing when I was talking about making music, I got rid of my big studio and I ended up just down to a laptop, and that was absolutely brilliant. The freedom I got was so good. I could take it to work with me. I was getting the thing out. As long as you got a minimum viable commitment and you say, I'm going to make, 15 minutes a day, I'm going to make music, there's always time to make music, right? So you take your laptop with you, lunch break at work, flip it open, 15 minutes worth of music, gets you excited, can't wait to get home, flip the laptop, doing it for 15 minutes, there's half an hour, isn't it? Wake up in the morning, I'll quickly do while I'm waiting about, maybe get half an hour in. There we've done an hour's making music already in a day. And providing you're doing like action plans, very good. Very easy to do if you've got a laptop, So I would recommend a laptop. Because all I'm concerned about is making music, and I don't mind about limitations. I'll just work with that. In a lot of ways, these streams are quite like limiting for me what I can use, because I'm pretty much zero, unless it's so special. I'm like zero latency all the way. There's no sort of tolerance for like anything that adds any latency on. Obviously, the Polychrome has absolutely got the best latency for a guitar amp sim ever. For the specs, well, yeah, I mean, for me, I've got like like I've got 16. Well, you need a big screen, so you're gonna have to go like definitely 16-inch. Don't get anything smaller than 16-inch for a laptop. That's for a start. You definitely need a minimum of 16 gigs of RAM in there. But if you can go for 32, I would go for 32 actually, because sometimes I get like a little bit close to the edge. So if you can get 32, that would be great. And then just a decent sized hard drive in it, and you are ready to go. So a bigger hard drive, more RAM is always good. And that's it. That is the spec. And you'll have a machine that'll be like really quick, super efficient. You can pick it up, you can walk about with it, you can go stuff, you can produce music in Starbucks, you know, you can do whatever you want. I finished so many tracks out on the move. Yeah, okay. Good move. Well, Gramps, you see, because like I'm a rock star, believe it or not, I get most of them for free. There's like tons of stuff that I get for free. That's why I've got millions. But actually, the reality is I only use a few of them. That Gate plugin that I'm using, GateLab, everybody, is absolutely free of charge. It's a free plugin. Where is it? Um, so this GateLab, if you type in GateLab, free, won't cost you anything. Um, So things, I mean, obviously some things are paid for. So FabFilter Pro, that's my main EQ. Got that. I have some subscriptions. So like I've got Plugin Alliance. We used to have an endorsement with them, but they pulled out of all their endorsements. But I just went for a monthly subscription on that, and I also subscribe to Slate plugins. But I've really pretty much stopped using those at the minute. I've just kind of done away with that, which is fine. Part of it is I was really liking the sort of analog sound of the VCC console, but I'm kind of needing it less because I tend to go for very sort of retro plugins anyway that are kind of giving me that sort of saturation that you would get from real circuitry. So I'm getting that from the emulations I use. But everything else, I mean, is pretty much I get for nothing. But if I had to recommend anything, like if you're going to buy anything, the things I would recommend massively is obviously for your guitar, Polychrome without a doubt. And then because it's just excellent, it just solves so many problems and it's like less of a headache. And there isn't billions of amps to choose from, and it sounds amazing. And that's it, and everything's in one spot, and I can easily map it to a foot controller, and it's done. Other things that I think are really good is I think FabFilter Pro Q3 is essential. That's your essential EQ. That's all you need for EQ. You don't need anything else really. What else do I like? Would I say? Oh, and then obviously for your reverbs and delays, I mean, there's nothing wrong with stock delays, but if you have to go with like a third-party reverb, then Valhalla is amazing, and Valhalla do like a free reverb delay plugin, which is absolutely amazing. Oh, you like all the music I've done so far? Oh, that's cool. I tend to move. I mean, me and Thomas are just. Hopefully, it'll be finished soon. He's doing his guitar bits for the breakbeat stuff. So I've gone a little bit more up tempo. I was very much into breaks. I've kind of come back into synthwave, and I didn't even realize it. I stopped chopping breaks up. I think part of that is because it takes really long to find the breaks that you want to chop up, and then that's a faff, isn't it? But there's certain things I've been picking up from breakbeat and like I've fallen back in love with respaces, and I'm hearing a lot of that all the time, especially in like some of the like dreamy hip hop stuff. I like. How many people have we got here today? 9. Brilliant. So it's been a good session today. As I say, I'm gonna, it's a bit slower for me, but because really I need to start, I have to keep up with the whole kind of I'm meant to be running a coaching business here because like I forget about it and I just get carried away. But I'm meant to be using these live sessions to at least mention it once, as you do. The capitalism in me. But if you want coaching, you know where I am, and there are various options as well. What I really want I want people to take me up on like the hour 1-to-1 non-directive coaching. If you feel brave enough. So if anybody wants a 1-to-1 for an hour non-directive coaching using the thinking environment, that's my new kind of baby at the minute. I love doing those sessions. But like if you're ever stuck and you've got like a problem in anything, it's just excellent. It's nitrous oxide. You'll come away all fired up with a plan of what to do that you've actually come up with yourself. It's brilliant. Like in these 1-to-1 sessions, I ask the questions. The trick is though asking the right questions, and then you just work it out yourself, and I don't say anything. I mean, that's the thing is we've got to create our own problems and we've got to create our own solutions. That's the way to do it, isn't it? Then everything's like unique to you. I find it hard to stay up with what's popular recently. We have too much music to pick from nowadays versus back when. This is true. So what I tend to do is I go for playlists. That's why I'm on the Beatport playlist at the minute, top 100, or I completely disengage from listening to music. I really struggle listening to synthwave at times. I do, honestly, because I put it on. I think, shit, this is like elevator music. Like some of the stuff you hear, and it's like really popular. It sounds like a keyboard demo to me. I'm like, why would I want to make something like that? Why would I want to make like a demo preset? But like other stuff's amazing, isn't it? Well, it does, doesn't it, fella? There's so much of it. I'm sure there's some artists that just go like everything I'm doing now. It was good the first album, but like now I'm like it really sounds like it was okay. The keyboard preset album was good, but shit, I need to do something here. I know, do exactly the same thing, but I'll get a vocalist and I'll make everything into a song. That's one way around it. Oh, this is good. Would you coach a total noob that went and bought the Mac, Ableton guitar interface, etc., but don't know shit? Yeah, of course I would. I would coach you, but I'd have to do a bit of teaching. Because you'd actually have to physically have the thing wired up and ready to go. But yes, you could, you could come, you wouldn't necessarily get straight into the coaching because I'd have to go, right, well, this is how, you're going to have this basic knowledge of Ableton. But actually, to be fair, I could get you set up with Ableton and making stuff pretty quick, like within one session. Once you plug it all together, and you get it going a little bit, you'll be away. The good thing about the coaching thing is when you get onto coaching and you're in the coaching groups, we don't listen to each other's music, right? Because you're being coached, it's not like mainstream education. You're not all learning the same thing. I'm offering you an idea. I'm taking everybody through an exercise, and then you're doing that exercise game, I should say, on your own terms. So there's absolutely no differentiation. There's nobody like worse or better. All right, you're all just in competition with yourself. Yeah, so you could come for a lesson on that, Gramps. That wouldn't be a problem. Because you'd have to kind of physically know how it works to actually get onto the coaching thing. So you would get to that point, and then at that point, when I thought, right, you know enough, then I go, right, I start asking you questions. So, but my email's there, Gramps, so you can just get in contact, you know. And that's it, guys. So, oh God, look at that. I've been talking loads. Oh, that's good. I've enjoyed doing my discovery session on this track. I've saved it, and you know what? We'll probably fire this up on Friday and have a look at it. And see if we can come up with a little. I think it's going to need another discovery session. We're going to come up with some more options. And I know one thing for sure is that idea Gramps has come up with. Like literally, I've got 6 minutes, so I might as well do this now. That I'm just going to put in just a vaporwave beat, because it'll be half time, you see. So we want something that's 160. We want something that's about 60 BPM, and that'll be good for me. Let's have a look. Or we could even go the dark garage route. Come on, something. Oh, there we go. That'll do me fine. Oh, brilliant. And let's just create a MIDI track for it. Sorry, an audio track. First one, bang. Just gain stage and that kick, getting it to about 12. See, stuff like that's great. Right, okay, I am going to make more of an effort to explain things and try not to disappear into my own world, but sometimes I have to when I'm making music. But I'll try and talk about more of what I'm doing, because I'm not in a hurry to like finish loads of music, so I'm going to give more out to the world. That's my thing anyway, at least till I get to Christmas, and then get miserable. Oh, look at that. I'm going to make an effort to come to the live more. Love you, Tim. Oh, I love everybody. There we go. Thanks again for the tips tonight. Thank you for coming along, Sean. See, I'm trying to be good and click the button which brings all of this up, because it just makes things look more professional, doesn't it? Instead of me just trying to read things out. Also, I should do it anyway and just because the text goes bigger so I can see it a lot better. I only have like a small monitor in front of me here, so the I've got pretty good eyesight, but it's a little bit challenging at times reading directly off the chat. All right, guys, thank you. And I'm off. I'm going to definitely close this stream down properly by pushing the finishing button and then the OK button afterwards. So thank you for tuning in. I'm not here tomorrow, but I'm here Thursday. So see you then. Bye.